Hey there, this is Jexy with the Systems Alliance, and in this video I want to give an update to the bidding war between Comcast and Disney over the Fox assets. So Bloomberg recently put out an article regarding the 5 ways that this deal can possibly go down between Comcast and Disney duking it out for the Fox assets. It starts off by saying, don't count Brian Roberts out. Not that Brian Roberts, who was a great player for fantasy baseball in his heyday with the Orioles. I'm talking about the Brian Roberts, who is the CEO of Comcast. Since Disney outbid Comcast with their last large offer that they made for all the Fox assets, Brian Roberts has been telling Comcast investors that he's going to spare nothing in going after the Fox assets. Now, before I go on to this story, I do have to say, Time Warner and all of their assets, everything they have, was purchased for $85 billion by AT&T. Personally, I think the Warner Brothers assets are worth far more than the Fox assets. And the fact that the Fox assets, whatever this next bid may be by Comcast, assuming they do make one, assuming we're taking Brian Roberts' word for it that he is going to play again, it's absolutely crazy that the Fox assets are now going to cost Disney or Comcast or whoever wins the same as the Time Warner deal that went through. It's really crazy because they're worth, in my estimation, a lot of analysts' estimation, anyone who follows media, some might put a low ball at half as much and the high bar at maybe 75, maybe 80%. We've kind of already passed that range now since the latest offer is $71.3 billion, but with an offer to also take over all of the debt. So it really becomes the same $85 billion that AT&T offered to purchase Time Warner and got. So at this point, if Comcast makes another offer, I think they're overbidding. They're definitely overbidding. There's no way they should be going this high. Disney going this high, they almost kind of have to now at this point. But you also have to remember that Disney and Comcast, they hate each other. They absolutely hate each other. Comcast tried to take over Disney back in the day. Disney hasn't forgotten it. Comcast, who owns Universal Studios, makes fun of Mickey Mouse and their Jurassic Park ride. So these are just two companies that flat out don't like each other. So Fox shareholders are scheduled to vote on the Disney deal on July 27th. So that's coming up here at the end of the month. And that obviously leaves a good amount of time for Comcast to come back and make their bid for the Fox assets. There's a couple ways that can go down. Most likely what's going to happen, since really the meeting is just about Disney, they're not waiting for Comcast or anything like that, and it's just going to be yes or no. Comcast can come in at the 11th hour and say, nope, here's our offer. And then it's not like they necessarily have to do that vote on the Disney deal at that time. They can just choose to cancel the meeting and then check out the Comcast deal and then wait for Disney to bid again and everything like that. Keep in mind that Fox, also not a huge fan of Comcast, and they too have actually never accepted a Comcast bid. They've only ever accepted Disney bids. And it's also possible that the assets could also be split of Fox. So maybe Disney gets a lot of it and then maybe Comcast gets all the assets that are more catered to overseas, like Sky News and the Sky Network. And if you were also wondering, what makes me say that the Fox assets right now are overvalued by both Disney and Comcast, well, Fox's stock is up 27% in the last month. They haven't done anything new. They haven't come out with a new release of something amazing. All they've done is be in the middle of a bidding war between two companies that don't like each other, who are definitely going to overpay. So Rupert Murdoch and his family, super happy right now, as well as all of their investors, but it still seems like a massive overpayment at this point, and it might get even crazier. And if you're wondering how Comcast investors feel about it, well, their stock's down 17% since this bidding war started, which kind of proves that people think that they're overbidding as well. So as far as the 5 things that could happen, number 1 is Comcast comes in with a knockout bid. In other words, they're just going to crush Disney's offer. They did it the first time, they might do it again. And while Disney already cleared the antitrust approval with the government, Comcast has yet to do it. So we'll have to see if they're able to actually do that, but you never know. Especially since AT&T was able to buy Time Warner when the government was against that one, it's safe to say that the government's not going to risk more egg on their face by challenging this one, whether it's Disney or Comcast. Another win for Comcast, or even for Disney, could be if Comcast lets Disney win, but after they make this bid and then Disney tops it. So in other words, they're making Disney pay pay absolutely through the nose for these assets, which is going to make Disney unable to do the things that they would normally do that would compete with Comcast. So whether that's sports programming or anything else that they might compete against each other in, that would mean Disney has less assets, less money, less cash available for them to go ahead and compete with Comcast on these because of all the debt they're going to assume from bidding even higher than they are right now, in addition to taking on the debt of Fox. The other thing Comcast can do is partner up with a private equity firm or even a different type of partner to come up with the cash to be able to outbid Disney instead of taking on all the debt themselves. Last year, Comcast approached Amazon to see if those two could possibly partner up in a deal to gain the Fox assets, but that deal kind of fell apart. Amazon didn't want to go through with it, so here we are. Obviously, Amazon went the way of producing their own content, including the massive hundreds of millions of dollars that they're going to be dropping down on a possible Lord of the Rings TV series, so we'll have to see how that all goes. Hopefully it's worth it. I love Lord of the Rings, but getting off topic. And although other companies have expressed interest in possibly partnering up with Comcast for buying a few of the channels and Comcast getting the rest or something like that, while that may work in theory, the risk they run is that if Disney ends up winning this bid anyway, and Disney still has a lot of control over the sports network since Disney owns ESPN, which have huge deals with the NFL, Major League Baseball, NBA, etc., then whatever companies that partner with Comcast to make that bid could get on the bad side of Disney if they decide to take a hard line against those companies that wrong them as far as they're concerned, since they partnered with their enemy, which is Comcast. So it may not be the best thing for those companies to partner with Comcast either. So just as a reminder to everyone, when we talk about the Fox assets, we're not including Fox News, Fox Business, or any of the Fox regional sports networks and Fox Sports 1. Those are not part of the sale that Disney and Comcast are trying to acquire. However, what Fox does have that will be part of the deal are their movie studios, their TV studios, their cable networks, and also their international reach with things like Sky News. So this is why Disney and Comcast both really want these Fox assets, especially with Warner Brothers, Time Warner off the table now. There's really a limited amount of companies that are actually willing to sell or have as much to offer. So that's why you're seeing the price skyrocket the way it is. If Comcast is unable to win this deal and Disney ends up winning it, it leaves them with their third option, which is to try and buy one-offs. So in other words, Lionsgate, for instance, has been reportedly been up for sale for a while now, and that would be something that Comcast would look into. They would also be looking at purchasing maybe Sky News separately from this deal, because that would give them their international reach, which they really don't have now. There's even been talk that they would go after Verizon to get everything that they have going on as well. And even though Comcast previously tried to buy Charter Communications, another cable company, they're thinking maybe a new administration might allow them to purchase Verizon, even though the one for Charter failed. The fourth option includes splitting the assets with Disney, something that neither is too keen on since they definitely don't like each other. However, financially, it could end up being the best option for both of them. Right now, both of their credit ratings are at risk of being cut and will be cut if they go through with the purchase of Fox, which right now the price is so high that it would cost so much debt that their credit ratings would take a hit. Something that could prevent that from happening would be if Disney gets, say, the domestic assets, which would be the X-Men, the Fox movie studios, the TV studios, the Simpsons, things like that, Family Guy, all the other shows that they have going on, and their TV channels, whereas Comcast would take the international assets like the Sky News Network and everything that goes along with that. Even though right now, Bob Iger, Disney CEO, has his agreement specifically stating that the assets cannot be split because he doesn't want to lose anything to Comcast, some analysts are saying this is what may end up happening because the price is just getting too high. And of course, Comcast's fifth option is to just walk away from the deal altogether and let Disney have it where it's at right now and not make a counteroffer. Although I'm sure Comcast would love to drive up the price that Disney's going to have to pay for Fox, as they kind of already have. Realistically, if Comcast doesn't go through with the deal, maybe their share prices rebound from the 17% hit they've already taken. So it could still be a win for them, even if they just back away right now. But from hearing both of the CEOs talk, it doesn't seem like that's going to happen. So while even though most analysts are still saying it will end up being Disney in the end that acquires the Fox assets, and then you'll finally have the X-Men and the Marvel Universe and everything else that Disney wants, all their TV platforms and channels, everything like that, it doesn't sound like the CEO of Comcast is backing down either. Brian Roberts really wants to take it to Disney, and we'll have to see where this goes. So let me know what your thoughts on this are. Do you think Disney's going to end up winning it? Do you think Comcast is going to end up winning it? Do you think Comcast walks away, or do you think they keep driving up the price that Disney's going to have to pay? Do you think they end up splitting the assets? Do you think a new deal is done to where they both don't end up taking such a hit on their credit because this is already costing them too much? And my next question for you is, do you think it already is too expensive for what they're getting? Obviously, Fox has a large reach, but not nearly as large as the Time Warner deal with Warner Brothers and all of their assets. And yet, with that deal, it costs $85 billion. With the debt that Disney would take on right now, in addition to their $71 billion offer, they're at $85 billion too. So let me know if you think it's even worth it for either company, or if someone else you think should come in and get it. Obviously, a lot of people don't like what Disney is doing right now with Star Wars, so they're worried they could maybe hurt some of the Fox properties as well. But no one seems to like Comcast either. So is this a battle of the lesser of two evils, and hopefully one of them wins out? Let me know, and we'll see you next time.